So Jey Uso and Sami Zayn are not going to the Elimination Chamber as of me speaking to you. At least that's what SmackDown has insinuated. You can now go back and watch my match predictions video from yesterday. Yes, I do look like a fool for now. Let's wait and see what happens over the next week or so. But my gosh, was it a mixed bag edition of SmackDown with some very, very strange decisions, but also what I thought was a very, very fun main event. We are going to talk about it. Thank you for joining me. My name is Simon Miller. I'm a bored idiot. I like pro wrestling. I do wrestling, which means I'm the best content creator in the world, which I don't actually believe, but it's fun to say. Like the video, share the video. Like I say, subscribe to get daily wrestling content where we will talk about everything. I appreciate the support. Let's go. But we'll start with the main event, Cody Rhodes versus Jey Uso versus Sami Zayn. Thought it was very ballsy of WWE to do this, because you could have gone either way. Sami Zayn could have won, Cody could have won. I think a lot of people wanted Jey Uso to win, and quite clearly WWE wants to protect him, because Drew McIntyre ran out just when Jey Uso was going to win, claymored him right in the face, threw him through a table. Then there was shenanigans with Cody and Sami Zayn. Eventually Sami Zayn got his revenge on Drew McIntyre, but then he walked back into the Cody Rhodes. Second time I've said that, the crossroads. My brain isn't working today. Cody gets the 1, 2, 3. And do not forget as well, they had that awesome spot, although some people didn't like it, when Cody also gave the Claymore to Cody, and he put Sami Zayn on top, his arch nemesis, and he cut that promo beforehand saying, Sami, I don't like you, but tonight I wish you good luck. And it didn't work. So Cody is becoming Super Cena, which is quite amusing as well. I always thought Cody Rhodes was going to win. Some people outraged by this. My actually biggest annoyance with this is in the opening tag match that we will talk about, that got ended for no reason, because they were wrestling and fighting. And the ref just went, nah, it's a no contest. But here, even though a man who was not legally allowed to proceed into this thing smacked a bunch of people with moves and threw someone through a table, it was totally okay. Now, I understand it's a triple threat match, so no DQs. It's still utterly ridiculous to have those two things on the same show. I think we kind of need to pick a lane and stick to it. But like I say, very, very good main event. Cody was always going to go to the chamber. Gun to my head, I think Cody will win the damn thing as well, which I've got no problem. But now I'm starting to think it's a four-way. Like, I do not believe, well, it's so difficult to say. So Jey Uso obviously has beef with Drew McIntyre, as I paused for some reason. WWE's going to have to admit to us soon who attacked Jey Uso. I hope we haven't forgot about that back in 2025. Obviously, Jey Uso has beef with him too. So Sami and Jacob can absolutely hate Drew McIntyre. But if Cody then wins the Elimination Chamber, he then has authority to get into this match. Look, maybe he doesn't. Maybe someone else happens. I very much doubt it. Maybe we are going to do Gunther versus Drew McIntyre. That's something we talked about yesterday as well. I don't believe it. But if you are going to put Gunther in the Elimination Chamber, which may not be true again, I would argue against it maybe. Maybe they're going to go completely differently, and maybe do a three-way between Sami, Cody, and Jey Uso in a number one contender match. Interesting thing to do at WrestleMania, but all these rumors are telling us that WWE want to try new things. So it's interesting from that point of view. I think you can sit down here and fantasy book your way to Toy Town, but at the same time, could Jey Uso still get in the Elimination Chamber? Could Sami Zayn? Of course they could. It's a WWE show. Sometimes they come up with crazy stipulations, and sometimes you think there's been a very definitive end point. It turns out it was just a one-night thing, and that's when people get mad about stipulations, which I do understand. Like Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn. Last time they were going to fight, and then they fight another 722 times. But I enjoyed all of it. I thought it was very, very well done. I like the fact that Drew McIntyre looked like a moron. He's the heel of the piece. He's the villain. It depends, obviously, where you're going with this, but he can't be on top all of the time. And I suppose you could argue that he looked a bit silly last week because everybody beat him up. But then at the Royal Rumble, he did start all of this when he claymored Cody Rhodes out of the thing. So I don't think we can forget this. But I think sometimes all wrestling companies are so desperate to get heel heat, they forget that sometimes the heel should be mugged off and made to look like a fool. And on this evening, Drew McIntyre's plan didn't work. And given that he had promised Cody Rhodes, you're not going to get to WrestleMania, and now he's one step closer, I'm not saying that it's the best storytelling ever in terms of I'm so excited and so on the end of my seat, but I do think it makes sense, and I do like it. I think the problem is some people have decided that Cody Rhodes needs to turn heel right now. I'm not you base this off what? Because he got booed once in Europe, wherever they went? It doesn't make sense to me. Quite clearly, the overall contingent of people are very much on the Cody Rhodes train. And you look at numbers, statistics, buy rates, and merchandise, all that stuff we shouldn't have to worry about, but you want to have if you're going to have this debate, and Cody Rhodes is still right up there. I don't think it's the right time. I think when we do it, we really need to have our backs against the wall so it means something, and not just doing it for the sake of doing it. But I really did enjoy this. I thought it was very, very good. Drew McIntyre should now be equally angry because, again, his plan didn't work. But now Sami's on his ass. Jey Uso's on his ass. Sami Zayn eventually has to beat Drew McIntyre. He just has to. He lost because of Drew, even though Drew was trying to help him at one point. And Jey Uso, let's say it was Drew McIntyre that beat him up, although I doubt that it would have been last year. He is going to want his revenge as well. I can see a four-way at WrestleMania. Do I like that idea? Do I not like that idea? I don't know. Then what does Gunther do? Maybe it's a 5-way, which is way too much. We're going super overboard. But I think they did enough here to get me intrigued about the Elimination Chamber and intrigued about WrestleMania. And of course, we need that because CM Punk and Roman Reigns cut that fire promo. We want to make sure we have it on the other side. And everybody did cut a good promo last week. But even though I think you can make an educated guess as to where they are going, I also think there's enough flight of fancy there for you to fancy book your way into something that's completely unexpected, which is good too. Also, it was a great match. They're three very good professional wrestlers. I was trying to think of a better word. They're just excellent at what they do. I enjoyed it. I liked all the madness here. It worked. Did not work in the opening. Because Tiffany Stratton just comes out, right? And she got interrupted by Nia Jax. I couldn't believe it. I was like, these two joined at the hip. Even Tiffany Stratton said, are you obsessed with me? We did this throughout 2025. I have no idea why WWE did this. They have so many women on that roster that could have confronted Tiffany Stratton. Even give Tiffany Stratton an impromptu matchup. Even push Chelsea Green up there on her wheelchair. Given that later on, Chelsea did say, I blame you, Tiffany. Anything but this. Then Nia Jax and Lash Legend say, oh, hi, we're going to win the tag team title. So out come Rhea Ripley and Io Sky. It was a fun match. Rhea and Io super over. They have done the world of good for these tag team titles, but the finish, I could not believe it. I'd said this on What Culture Ups and Downs, where I freelance the reviews for, check it out. But I think it was Nia Jax and Io Sky fighting on the announce tables, and then Lash Legend throwing Rhea Ripley through the barricade. Almost instantly, it didn't even go for that long. The ref just went, nah, I can't be bothered, and the match just stopped. Of course the fans turned on this. They were trying like, referee, you suck. It was so lame. That's the word that I keep using. It's not on anybody in the match. It's not even on anybody that wrote it in creative. That's not what I'm saying. I don't think anybody went, oh, it's going to be so lame, we're going to do it. I just think you can have winners and losers sometimes, especially when you were going to do that in the main event. Surely you look through your show sheet or whatever, your running order, and go, well, if we are going to have madness in the main event that's not going to have any sort of major consequences, we should do it at the start too. Nia Jax and Lash Legend can lose. Lash Legend's only in with Nia Jax now because she just debuted on the main roster and we're just giving her sort of a nice, welcome until she does go off by herself. And Io Sky and Rhea Ripley, like I say, are so damn over. They're so popular. They can win wrestling matches. We did not need to put a full stop on, or not even a full stop, a comma. We haven't got to the full stop. Now, I would imagine it's because we're getting a multi-person match at WrestleMania. So you do need to plant those seeds. I just don't think this was the way to do it. I think we could have come up with something else, even if it was Tiffany Stratton accidentally costing one of them. I don't know. But quite clearly they wanted it to be a draw. Maybe this is why they need to bring time limits back. And they literally could have had a draw and that would have been way better. Now, you can't overdo draws, but it's like sport. Sometimes you get two big teams taking each other on. I guess this is more in sort of Premier League soccer over here for my American friends. And they cancel each other out. So you get a boring 0-0, even though you thought it was going to be like, oh my gosh, a 5-4. And even while the match itself was exciting and I enjoyed it, you get to a draw. I think WWE has to move away from stuff like this and absolutely should never allow Tiffany Stratton and Nia Jax to have a conversation again. They've done everything, right? Unless they're going to get in the ring and play chess or maybe snakes and ladders or tic-tac-toe or Clue. Just Monopoly. We'll go with Monopoly. Just don't do it again. Really enjoyed all the Carmelo Hayes stuff as well. I'm glad he got time to talk on this show because we've seen NXT, he knows what he's doing. And we are building something interesting here. Like he was about to have a match with Ilya Dragunov, the MFTs interrupt, then out comes Cardona, Apollo Crews, Shinsuke Nakamura. We do a big 10-man tag, thank goodness that happened because Nick Aldis didn't have a show. But it ended with shenanigans for sure. I thought we protected Carmelo quite well, but Tama Tonga did get the win over him, and that's just a feud that I want to see. Obviously, Ilya is still hanging around, and so is The Miz, and I guess Matt Cardona and Apollo Crews said they'd like a US title shot as well. But the MFTs for me, I'm just done with the Wyatt feud. I am. They looked at him here and later on they drew a picture of Solo. I'm not sure why he was so offended by that. I just think we need to ramp up the tag team scene on SmackDown again. You know my thoughts. Combine it with Raw and just go back to that. It was way better. But people like Tama Tonga and people like JC Mateo and everybody else, Talatonga and the rest, all need, I think, will benefit, I would say, by feeling more individual. At the moment, they kind of fade into the background. And we know that Tama Tonga is awesome. He gets to cut a big promo too. We understand he can do the stuff, but I think he's allowed to talk. Obviously, he tried to kill me back in 2019, wherever it was. You can look it up right now. But I just like the idea of the other people in the MFTs finally stepping forward, especially because Tama Tonga does have previous with this. Again, it was secondary belts in New Japan, but he had a really, really good run. I think he'll have a great match with Carmelo Hayes. It will only benefit Carmelo. And again, Ilya's hanging around, Miz is hanging around, Apollo Crews is hanging around, Matt Cardona's hanging around. We kind of need to iron it out a little bit, but I just think of all the people that WWE has started to push in 2026, Mello is right up there, and I think that he just, what's the word that I'm looking for? But he just finds his way. It's effortless, right? Do this, okay, I'll do it. Don't do that, all right, I won't do it. So hopefully this carries on. He is an Elimination Chamber qualifier next week. I don't think he'll win. He has too many enemies. He is going to get screwed over, but that's a couple of thumbs to me, and I really hope that we continue this on. I doubt he'll ever win a world title. I don't mean that in a bad way. I just think that scene is too damn packed. But for everybody else beneath it, he absolutely should be the guy. He absolutely should be the man. I just think he's taken to the main roster like a duck to water, which actually is the same for Trick Williams. Because he got a big promo on Phoenix before his match with Phoenix, which I thought was really, really fun, and actually more fun than the first one. And again, he's just the dude. He's just the guy. He's not going to be heel for very long because people love him too much. He said something like, when people go to the zoo, they don't want to see a flippy squirrel. They want to see a lion like me. And then Phoenix came out there and basically whipped his ass for a while as Trick bumped his ass off for him. But this goes back to the Drew McIntyre thing. Trick is the heel here. He has to show his ass a little bit. And eventually, Phoenix misses something off the top rope. He gets hit with a Trick knee. 1, 2, 3, that rhymes, so it must be true. Trick is probably going to be in the chamber, so I screwed up yesterday when I made those predictions because, I don't know, I thought he was going to be kept out of it. I mean, it's an Oba-Femi situation for me, but again, you can get away with it more with Trick. I don't want Oba in the chamber because Oba's not going to win, and Oba shouldn't be losing any matches, even by proxy, even though, of course, that wouldn't make sense in that match. Trick Williams will probably just be in it to continue to tell the audience, oh, hi, this guy's really good. Look what he can do. So I just really, really enjoyed this. And Trick Williams just made for a SmackDown or a Raw. There are some people that don't think he's very good in the ring. I don't see that. Is he the best person I've ever seen? No. I'm going to go with competent, but even then, that's being way unfair for him. He's good. He's good at all aspects of professional wrestling. Can he get better? Of course he can. All people can get better. But he is only just on the main roster, so there is going to be some transitioning. But really like this, I thought Phoenix showed out, and we all knew Phoenix was going to lose. So allowing Phoenix for the second time to kind of do a highlight reel, I don't think it minds that Trick Williams was bumping his ass off the whole time. I had no problem with it at all. And yeah, who is it? It's Trick versus Damian Priest versus Carmelo. I think Trick Williams will win that match. So what you do with Damian Priest, I don't know. We also got Jordynne Grace versus Jade Cargill for the Women's Championship. I like this too. I thought it was a good match. It felt like a Jordynne Grace match, but Jade Cargill was there for everything, and it wasn't very long. And every time a match isn't long, people go, I can't believe it wasn't very long. If Jade Cargill's strength is having short matches, put her in short matches. Okada, for example, is a great example of this. He's still brilliant in short matches, but he's way better in long matches, the way he builds them. Give people matches that benefits them. Why would you do the opposite, right? Paul Heyman has said that since day one. That's how he got ECW over. You hide the weaknesses and you push the strengths. It was just two big women slapping women meat. Nothing wrong with that. Trading spine busters, roll-ups and all else. And sort of Jade Cargill, I think it was a part of the work because obviously Jordynne Grace is working on her arm. She gave her a one-arm jaded. I always get worried these days that people are injured for reals. I hope she is okay. Gets to 1, 2, 3. Clean win. And I'm not going to argue with that, even though this was one of those situations where I was like, the Judgment Day at ringside, can we protect Jordynne Grace? But also, I'd much prefer people do just win and lose. Let's see how Jordynne Grace handles this, right? That's half the fun of sport. Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio are watching on, having the most obnoxious Valentine's Day meal ever. And talking of Valentine's Day as well, obviously we had a tease between Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. But I just liked all of this. It's a shame that Jade Cargill hasn't been allowed to defend her title more. This was a good first defense. Don't know where Jordynne Grace goes from after this, but hopefully she is still featured. And yeah, earlier on, Charlotte Flair had given a bunch of presents to Alexa Bliss, saying, sorry about the Royal Rumble, and quite rightly, Alexa went, it's every person for themselves, don't worry about it. And then it was Alexa versus Alina versus Julia, and Alexa Bliss won. I did talk about this yesterday, I'll double down on it here. Charlotte should get in 2, and Alexa should cost Charlotte, or Charlotte could cost Alexa. Given that Charlotte knocked her out of the Rumble, I think Alexa Bliss should pin Charlotte in the chamber. Maybe by cheating, I think Bliss should go heel, Charlotte should be face, and we do that match at WrestleMania, and all of this will be good. I mean, Julia lost, of course, she did, although Zelina Vega took the pin. But after this, Julia, well, Io Sky said to Julia, I want your US title, and Rhea Ripley and Jade looked at each other. I'm not totally adverse for throwing whatever WrestleMania plans there are out the window, which is the rumor anyway, and doing Jade versus Rhea, and so Rhea would win the chamber. That would go down well with the crazies. She got such a massive pop when she came out. Who goes, she's not over. You have to be sticking cotton wool buds in your ears. You're totally crazy. But anyway, you had the Jade versus Rhea face-off, and you had the Io, not even a face-off. Io said, I want that title. Maybe we do that at WrestleMania. As long as the women's tag team belts continue continue to get booked in the right way because they're great right now. And I love the women's tag division. I've been going on about it for like 5 years. People get mad at me, understandably. But I just think that would be really interesting. And Rhea versus Jade should be good. Nia versus Julia could steal the show if you allow them to do what they're able to do. So if you are mixing it up, I think that's interesting. But it did come out of nowhere. I was kind of a bit confused about it. It probably would just end in Julia and Kiana James versus Rhea and Io again, even though there's no need to do that. But we wait and see. I think over on this SmackDown, there was like some good matches and some bizarre segments. All the matches were pretty decent, but then you just get these crazy segments that didn't really make any sense. Well, that was mostly at the start with Tiffany and Nia Jax yelling at each other. But hey-ho, it is what it is. And at least Kit Wilson was on this show. So he has now started writing poetry, and he read some poetry to Nick Aldis, R-Truth and Damian Priest, and then, R-Truth said he's not a real man because he's got camel toe. As I did on Ups and Downs, we're going to zoom past that because let's not get into it in case the youth are watching. I actually loved the segment between Kit Wilson and Obafemi when Nick Aldis read a poem out that Kit Wilson had written about Oba. Oba's reaction to this was so good. He was kind of unfazed, but also like, no, you've disrespected me, my Lee. He's got a white glove out and slapped him around the face. And of course, it does make sense because Kit Wilson was surprised last week by Obafemi. Of course he's going to get murked next week, and then we should start building Oba for WrestleMania. Oba shouldn't be in the chamber. Like I say, if he's not going to win it, don't do anything with Obafemi when he's not going to win. Obafemi is the best guy that WWE has now. I've totally decided. He should be winning championships. He should be winning WrestleMania main events. I don't mind him being in this position with Kit Wilson because they work very well with each other. It helps Kit Wilson's gimmick for now, and absolutely helps Obafemi's gimmick because he's just so unfazed by everything. So I certainly did enjoy that. And the best bit about the camel toe line is right after this, R-Truth went, y'all like camels, as almost as if he didn't understand the joke he had just told. So that was fun, and that was stupid. I guess a benefit of having 3-hour SmackDowns, that we can do more fun stuff like that. There was probably something else on this show that I'm not thinking about, but I don't think so. It was a mixed bag. When it was good, it was very good. When it was not so great, I just kind of felt like WWE didn't really have an idea. I kind of feel like we're going to get out the other side of the Elimination Chamber. WWE will then obviously start securing up their Mania plans, and that is going to be a huge benefit. I think for WrestleMania 38 or 39, 6 months out, it was all done, and I think that always benefits WrestleMania. But hey-ho, at the same time, if the creative team feel like they're not going in a direction that they thought was good, and they're listening to the fans and anything else, they want to change tack, I think that needs to be open as well. But I think we should start getting a good idea of the major main events. I mean, there's a rumor the other day it's going to be LA Knight versus Brock Lesnar. I'm going to look so stupid as usual because when LA Knight and Cody threw out Brock, I was like, well, we're not going to do anything with LA Knight and Brock Lesnar. And LA Knight would need to win that match. And I can't see that happening. And also, what does that put Obafemi? Where does that put Gunther? Very, very strange. I mean, interesting because you want to see the stuff play out on your TV, but we wait and see. Overall, though, SmackDown is a crazy show. It's too long at 3 hours, but by the end of it, I did have a good time. I thought the main event was very good. And you know what? I don't care. I'm Team Cody. Now, of course, please do drop me a line below in the comment section and let me know what you think about all of this. I'd massively appreciate it. I'll try and put a question down there as well that you can answer if you would like to do that. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. If you want my elimination card match predictions, click that there. I think you'll be interested. Otherwise, patreon.com/Simon316. Because it's Valentine's Day, go to grillermind.com/Simon. They have some Valentine's Day sales. I think something's up to like 45% off. It ships worldwide. It will help your libido. And these are real stuff as well. They're all scientifically tested, and I've tested them too. Otherwise, I wouldn't promote them. Simon316 on social media, and then TikTok, Cameo, and Pro Wrestling Tees. Search for my name, get a t-shirt, get a cameo. See my stupid wrestling videos that are just jokes. I appreciate you, my friends. Have a lovely weekend, and I will probably see you next week.